Hello and welcome to Tony's Bonsai. I've got an update for you in a moment and then I'm going to be doing something with these honeysuckles. I've been trying to figure out what to do with this plant for ages now. I did a big chop on it up here last year, but even so, it's no good. And we've got some nice fresh young shoots that could be wired and turned into something interesting. So I've got a plan. Also, I've got a little hawthorn growing here. Look, that's just self-seeded. Now for the update, and if anyone can tell me what I was thinking when I put this together, please do, because I've got no idea. It's awful, and I think it's done me a favour by dying. This is also a honeysuckle, and I planted it on a root over rock last year, and it's not done well. Honeysuckles are so tough. I was really surprised this died, but it's always good to find out why, and this is quite obvious. Look how dry that soil is. There's absolutely no moisture in there at all. So that's why it's died. I'll take the wire off and have a bit of an explore and see what happened anyway. So I remember attaching it with obviously this vet tape, and I put some moss in there as well, some sphagnum moss. And it's just dried out. It's just completely dried out. So that's my fault, that. Lack of care. But, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, look at it. It's quite easy to forget about a tree like that. But I still like the rock. So my plan is to get one of those other honeysuckles on this rock. With a bit of luck, this will have a decent root system, and I can... There we go. I can plant these roots all over the rock. Look at that. That was planted 1 year ago. First thing I need to do is get rid of this Irish moss off the surface. And this should come off fairly easily. Just with a chopstick like that. A few other bits of weeds as well. Next job, deal with these roots and see what's down here. Oh, sounds like limestone. Oh yeah. It's been a while since I've had a tree with loads of limestone, at least a week. They're raking out really nicely, these roots, which is ideal. Could work well for root over rock. One of the things I understand about bonsai is we have to be adaptable. I've cleaned the roots off now. I don't think they're going to be any good for root over rock, but I've got a second honeysuckle that I can have a go at root over rock with. Look how interesting these roots are. I think they're fantastic. And likewise, as I spin the tree round, they're really good round this side as well. So I don't want to just keep sort of slice all this off and... No, this needs to stay as it is and go in a pot. I've got this pot just lying around, and I've got a feeling that could be a really good match for this tree. Well, I'm happy with this in its pot now. It's looking good. There's no need for these super long branches anymore. They can go. And I can make a decision now on what I'm going to do in terms of the styling of this plant. The big question is, do I keep any of this trunk? My issue with it is that this is all quite gnarly and stumpy and I like it, and then it's just got zoom, dead straight like a telegraph pole coming out of the top of it. It just doesn't look right. Therefore, this does have to come down, and it's just about whether I reduce the height of it, for example, to here, or do I say, you know, let's just get rid of it, take it right back and regrow the structure with these. And I can put movement into these, and I think they'll look really good and interesting. I do have a branch coming here though, but I see this kind of as the back of the tree, although perhaps now this could be a front, in which case I could cut the trunk right down to there and include that. In fact, I could do that even with this as the front, because they heal up so quick on, what is it? It's a honeysuckle. They heal up so quick, the scars, before you know it, that'll have healed up and it won't be a problem anyway. So I think that's the solution. To cut that there, boom. But I'm not going to do it now. I want this to have some leaves so that it can re-establish itself in the pot. I'll come back to that and cut that in the future. In the meantime though, I may as well get some movement into these flexible shoots. That's these 4 branches with some wire applied. And all I need to do now is kind of work out where they might want to go. I think this one in the centre will naturally kind of work its way up like that. This one here perhaps coming around and up. And this one maybe down and then up like that. Looks quite interesting, that. Doesn't really matter what you do at this stage too much. You're just putting a bit of interest into them. You see, if this is the front, this branch here can't really come this way because it's going right across the tree. So I think this one also has to come out this way. This one has to come up like that. And then it's about how do I have these two? Maybe this one coming like that. And this one at the back coming down and visible like that. That's quite interesting. There we go. And as for this one coming out of here, this one will definitely want to come towards the camera to kind of fill some of this space over here. Obviously bearing in mind that this main trunk will not be there. Yeah, excellent. Right then, let's see if this backup honeysuckle has got any roots to work with. I can see already there's a flatter root base to this. I've already removed the weeds from the surface. And with a bit of luck, yeah, it's a lot flatter. This will kind of sit on that rock a lot nicer. Right, let's have a go with this rock again. It's not a conventional root over rock type of piece because it's not really got any cracks and fissures and that kind of stuff in it. It's quite smooth, but I just really like the shape of it, and you know, you know me, I like to go against the norm. So the question now is going to be, how do I get these roots down onto this? And I'm not particularly concerned about the top section. I can regrow that and do whatever with it, but I want to get the roots either side of this ridge in there like that. That's kind of my plan. Oh, look, it sort of sits in there. I know there's a school of thought that says you should start root over rocks very young, little seedlings and all that kind of stuff, but you know, I'm more of a Peter Warren kind of man and Ryan Neal, and they work on some pretty big material. And they just make the roots work. And that's my philosophy. And it's going to be a challenge, this. The first thing though is there's one big vertical piece coming straight down there. If you can see that piece here. And that's going to stop anything sitting tight to anything. So that root absolutely had to go. And there's another one next to it. Right. So I've got rid of those two and almost formed like a ridge down the middle. I don't mind removing quite a lot of these roots if I need to, in order to get the roots sort of sitting nicely on this rock. They're kind of rocking a bit. Ooh, they sit on there well. They sit nicely on that section. So that's a possibility. I could have the tree like that with this long run. I'm just trying to work out what that composition would look like, as opposed to having this here like that. I could have this here, and then I could grow the branches to come across in this direction. Or I could have it there and have the branches coming this way. It's hard to know. But a decision has to be made. My thinking is this large nub here, which I don't really like, it doesn't seem so prominent on when it's here to me. Or I could have that nub facing downwards. That's a possibility as well. The only thing then is the tree's moving away from the rock. But if I had it here, these roots that come down, they're almost supporting that edge there. Oh, I like that. No, that's it. I've made my decision. I love these roots that come down and almost prop the tree up. The only issue is still that rock, this one that's coming up. So, even though it's a nice root, I'm going to get rid of it. There. That one can go. It didn't fit in with the design. It was going away. It was always going away from the tree. From the rock, should I say. There. So once I've got my position fixed like that, I'm going to, I know exactly where it is, put some muck underneath this. And then what happens is these bigger, harder roots, they'll push right through this muck. The muck's soft enough for these roots to just push through, and they'll be right up against the rock, but surrounded by muck. And I've had really good success with this technique so far, so I'm going with it again. So now just push it in like that, really sort of bed it down into that muck. And it almost holds it on itself, just like that. It's great stuff. I love it. I'm a fan of trying lots of different techniques of things, you know, wrapping with vet tape, trying with sphagnum moss and different things. But my experiments so far are quite clear. The results are quite clear that using this muck seems to produce a far better result. That's my experience so far anyway. Maybe in 12 months I'll come back with a different opinion, but I don't think so. So these are all really nicely fixed in place, these roots. It looks like I'm just burying it in heavy clay, but there's not really even that much clay in this. It's near enough all moss and cocoa coir, which trees just love. So they really thrive in this stuff. And a tree like a honeysuckle, which is tough as old boots. I'll rotate the tree around now, and you can see on this side, I've just run all the roots in the same way. They're all sort of coming down and across, and then they're coming out at the bottom here, which will go down into the soil. There's no need to wrap vet tape all around this muck. It's already just nicely in place, but what I do want to do is hold the actual tree against the rock. So what I'll do is I'm putting a piece of vet tape on the trunk, coming around the rock like that. So if we get a bit of wind or anything, the tree's not just going to blow off. It's supported now with that tape. Before I finish off potting that up, just so you can see what's going on, I can now afford to remove a few of these branches. This will just give the root system a bit of an extra chance, because it'll have less leaves to supply water to. We can see down here the roots that are popping out of the bottom. I want to give those roots some bonsai soil to grow into, but I won't be completely backfilling all this now. There's no need. See, what I don't want the roots to do is grow outwards out of the muck and into a load of soil at the side. I want them to work their way downwards through the muck and into this soil at the bottom. You can now individually put bits of moss into the surface using a chopstick, but I've got some big lumps of moss like this available, so all I'll do is I'll just use that vet tape to hold these pieces in position like this. And the main purpose for this is that when it rains or when I'm watering the tree, that I don't wash all this muck off. I may even add another piece of vet tape just over the top, but we'll see. Lovely. So my moss is on, nice and solid. The tree's held in place. All the roots are covered. That just needs a good watering now. I'll be updating you on the progress of these trees through the rest of the year, probably in the summer. If you've enjoyed the video, it'd be great if you'd hit that like button. And as always, thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.